Okay, so we're talking about the Jennifer Dulos case, just to sort of get our conversation on track. Dr. Lee, has the FBI contacted you about this case?
No,
They have
I'm
not.
not directly involved in the case.
Okay. So as we followed the investigation, investigators found bloody clothing, they found some other items, some sponges. Now, as of yesterday, they started searching a garbage dump to try to find more evidence. Is it possible, in your expert opinion, to get a usable sample of DNA or otherwise when you're sifting through garbage where there could be oils or dyes from other garbage? Can you get a usable sample?
Of course, yes. And in the past, so many cases we search garbage dump, recover valuable evidence. Today, the investigation is different than early days. We basically need the 6 major elements to investigate a major homicide case. Tomorrow, I'm going to be in Louisiana, New Orleans, to lecture to the DA, police, and the conference. New concept investigation. First, you need the crime scene.
Yep.
This particular case, we don't know exactly the crime scene yet.
Right.
The body is still unfound. And the second is piece of physical evidence. And this case have some physical evidence.
Right.
Apparently found some bloody clothing and sponge. Apparently DNA matched the victim.
Right.
The third, of course, we need witnesses. So far, haven't have major witnesses come forward. The fourth, public information, which the police department, New Canaan, and state police, FBI, everybody ask the public to provide the information to us. And the fifth one is big database. So with the CCTV camera and license recognition program, also facial recognition program, was able to put something in this geographic area, so you have a link now. The last one is intelligence. Now police and detective from state, federal, local work diligently, try to develop some intelligence to put this case together.
So there's still a lot more to go to get some of those filled in?
Well, it's kind of a yes or no. If that piece of a sponge or clothing, they can identify whose clothing.
Right.
Where's the sponge come from? The garbage bag. We have cases before we link the garbage bag because the garbage bag are made by certain company and depends on the manufacturer. Sometimes they use recycled material, the plastic.
Right.
And this bag have a lot of imperfections. So we was able to, for example, in Westchester, same thing, a dismembered body put in different bag, or was able to trace the bag to the suspect's home.
Oh, wow. So you said earlier, Dr. Lee, you've searched something like a trash dump before. When something is searched like that, is it just a visual inspection? Are there special lights or chemicals or machines that help you sift through the garbage?
It's a very difficult job. That's why usually when case happen, when I was commissioner town in charge of the laboratory the past 30-some years, we rather search garbage can first.
Got it.
So you can isolate the garbage can, and you can look at the garbage bag. Similar garbage bag you put in the group. Then you're going to have a bloodhound dogs, special trained police dog, to sniff the human body odor or other similar type of trained canine to work on a case. Once you finish all those, you still have to do the hand search. It's a very tedious and difficult job.
I can imagine it takes quite a long time. So say today, hypothetically, they're at the garbage dump and an investigator finds a sample, what they believe to be a sample. Could it be blood, bone, hair? What happens next? How do they process it? Where does it get tested?
Okay, it depends on if it's recovered from garbage dump, that's much easier.
Okay.
Then you look at the content. if in dump, garbage, there are thousands of garbage bags.
Right.
Usually we try to set a conveyor bar, like a
Set up a
airport,
conveyor belt to have it go
yeah.
past you. Like,
So we just load it on there, then a team of detectives go through that, keep moving
Wow.
from one pile to another pile. Otherwise, if you just manpower to dig, that takes forever.
Yeah.
So once we found some suspect package,
Mm-hmm.
let's say a bag, then when we go to separate them, what's the inside? Maybe you have newspaper, maybe you have letter, maybe you have some writing, so recognizable information.
Mm-hmm.
Then the bag, of course, we have to look at the trace evidence inside. Also look at a fingerprint on the bag.
You can get a fingerprint off the bag.
Yeah, if you find a fingerprint on the bag, then you can compare, either exclude a suspect or link the suspect. And inside, if anything blood, usually do a presumptive test. That's a chemical test, indicate the presence of blood. That's the first step at the so-called field test. It's a very important test.
What's used in that presumptive test? Is it a talcum powder? Is it an oil? Is it is it a chemical?
Blood. It's basically a red blood cell. The cell have hemoglobin. Hemoglobin will react with chemical. Early days we use benzidine, tetramethylbenzidine. Those are carcinogenic, very sensitive. At the scene, potential spot, if you can find it to give a reaction. Today, basically use a chemical called phenolphthalein, reacting a pink color.
Oh, it turns pink?
Yeah. Once have this positive color, which indicate could be blood, now you have to collect that, send to the laboratory to do confirmation test.
That it is blood and possibly whose is it, right?
Yeah, if it's blood, human blood or not. In the early days, we do ABO system, isoenzyme. Now they can directly jump into DNA.
Oh,
It's
wow.
more precise test.
So in this case, if evidence is found, would it go to a state lab? Would it go to an FBI crime lab some outside of it? Is that the
have no
investigator's
idea.
choice?
Early days, it's all sent to state police lab.
Got it, okay.
But now, because FBI involvement, I don't know, sometimes they probably directly sent to Washington. State police lab is the basically only laboratory in the state.
In Connecticut, okay.
Yeah.
It's the closest FBI lab, would that be down in Quantico, Virginia, or was that somewhere?
Quantico, Virginia.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought, okay. So how long does it take? So say they find, for hypothetical purposes, say they found what they believe to be a bone fragment. How long does it take to test something like that? Is that weeks, months,
Well,
hours?
many tests that we conduct is so-called field test at
Okay.
the scene right away. Of course, you need an expert at the
Right.
scene. The bone fragment, we can test it. For example, this institute, we don't do any active case anymore.
Okay.
We become a national cold case center. Only unsolvable case come to here.
Got it.
For example, Pennsylvania had a case, they have a concrete cement block sent to here.
Yeah.
So if you have to go through a big chunk of cement, piece by piece, take forever.
Right.
However, we do a lot of so-called X-ray field test. We found potential piece, then we do microscopically exam.
Okay, so you're looking at it under a microscope first.
The expert can identify within seconds.
They can say, see
Yeah.
what bone fibers look like.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that.
Then that particular sample, then you isolate that and seal it in a jar or evidence bag, sent to the lab to do confirmation test.
Got it.
Whether or not that human bone. If it's human bone,
Because it could be a chicken bone, it could be a dog bone, it could be, yeah.
those are easy to distinguish.
easy, okay.
But some of the bone fragment, let's say deer or cow, you can need a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Depends what the size of the bone. You have a good size, basically you can tell. Then you have to do species, then you do DNA,
Got it.
mitochondrial DNA.
Is hair more quickly identifiable if there was a hair?
Yeah, hair you can tell that's human or not human by just look at it under the microscope.
Yeah.
Then you can tell the possible racial origin. Is this Oriental or American black or Caucasian? Once you separate them, you can tell them apart. Is this a head hair or pubic hair?
Oh, right.
Or eyelash,
eyebrow.
Eyebrow, or any other body hair. Once we identify that, then you can possibly tell that's potential female hairs, and whether the hair is dyed or bleached,
Oh, right.
the hair is cut, smashed. Hair have tremendous value. However, you cannot matching hair. You just say microscopically similar.
Got it. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Is it difficult, so say this moves towards the courtroom now, is it difficult these days to convince a jury of scientific evidence, or do they readily accept a lot of these findings, Steve?
It's become more difficult. In the early days, the national standard. Today, the national standard is completely different.
How so?
Because of DNA, of course, the first question, why you don't do DNA? But the early days, because no DNA,
Right.
people accept ABO, type A, type B, type O, either similar to the defendant or different than defendant.
Yeah, they would just pick the blood type and say, okay,
Yeah.
that person is also a type O. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
it could be Frank Ham.
Right.
Now, of course, the DNA, why don't you do the DNA? Now DNA have second generation DNA. Why don't you do the second generation DNA?
Yeah.
Did you follow the national standard? What's the statistical information? How you will get this number? So it's kind of a little bit different than before.
They're
because
more concerned about your process too, not just
yeah, the defense attorney know how to picking apart. They even have a workshop training how to destroy honest witnesses. If they cannot challenge the science, sometimes they challenge your credential or challenge your make up something
Yeah.
just to demeanor the experts.
What did you help write the national standards? Did you help with those, or?
Yes, early days I was serving national committee, and now I retire 5 times now.
And they keep drawing you back in. You keep
Yeah.
going back to work. So what do you think, as we look ahead at this case, what do you think the biggest challenge investigators are going to face?
The biggest challenge is to look at her body, look at the primary crime scene where the homicide took place. So that's the 2 most important things have to find. Then I have to develop a timeline, do a geographic profiling and timeline processing, try to use the logic and systematically, like putting a puzzle together, can present the case to the court of law.
Is there usually one thing that sticks out that can be just a huge indicator that this case has moved significantly forward? Like, okay, we have a specific bone fragment, or we have a specific...
Of course, that bag of garbage.
Right.
If I'm involved, whether or not I found a suspect or witness's fingerprint.
Mm-hmm.
If you found a fingerprint, that's a direct link.
Yeah.
Inside, the blood was found on clothing, which I just learned from your report. So if from the clothing, whose clothing? Suspects, witnesses, or victims?
Right.
That's become extremely important. Any trace evidence on the sponge besides blood.
Yeah, is there a fingerprint or DNA or hand oil on the sponge?
Or
from
bone fragment, or
bone fragment.
any indicator can give us some clue. Let's say you found bone fragment. Then you say could be involving dismembering. dismembering. You look at how many different tools. For example, early days we helped Massachusetts, Texas, couple cases, determine the type of a saw, chainsaw,
Oh, right.
or bandsaw. So now you have some target you can search. For example, the wood chipper murder, we was able to look at the bone chips we think involving a commercial wood chipper. That's how get the break. Of course, material found on a wood chipper, found on a chainsaw. Chainsaw serial number was filed away.
Oh.
However, we was able to restore it. And even 30-some years later, I still remember E59211616.
You remember the serial number on the
serial
chainsaw?
number, yeah.
Wow.
That's how you talk about how important a piece of evidence.
Yeah.
From that, we was able to link who bought the chainsaw, where that chainsaw was sold.
Wow. Okay, I'm good. He just needs to get another, you know how it goes, 2 shots or whatever.
Just take whatever.